All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NPL Pro League number 4. We're here with Game 2 of this best-of-3 series between Fnatic and Virtus.pro. Thank you so much for joining us on Dota Radio. Oh, man, does it feel good to be back. Our casting schedule is really picking up between now and MLG Columbus. NPL Pro League is now back in action, and we do have the official go-ahead to be casting this tournament. Right now, we do have broadcaster slots, so we'll go ahead and encourage all of you guys to purchase tickets for the NPL Pro League. And, well, you can listen to us in-game, support this awesome tournament. And, you know, they did have a little drama surrounding them, was it 2 weeks ago, last week, whenever we had Marco Fernandez on the radio, Dota Radio morning show. You know, I have to say, I was a little skeptical at first after talking to the founder, CEO, managers. I think Natalic has what it takes to be a top-tier tournament, and so far, I'm just honored to be a part of it. I'm Zyori. Joining me again is Hippie. Game 1 was intense, my friend. How you feeling coming into Game 2?
A little better now that VP is banning Wisp, and I think that's something, you know, we don't see a lot of Wisp first fans anymore unless you're playing Fnatic. Better get rid of that Wisp. And even without No Tail, they want to get rid of the Wisp just because Fnatic knows how to play with it better than any other team. The global presence they bring to the table, boom, Wisp Furion gone. Virtus.pro knows Fnatic's strengths. They know what they want to take out. We'll see what Fnatic does to draft around this.
Yep. Exactly right. The two big global heroes, aside from Keeper of the Light, Virtus.pro says, Fnatic, we're not going to play your game here. We're not going to let you get your game. And alas, they're going to take those heroes out. Fnatic going to ban out Pugna for a second ban on the Clockwork. And that will kick it over here for Virtus.pro's first pick. Now, important to note, No Tail is not with us here. Fnatic does have a stand-in that is Navi's Kuroki or Kurokai, depending on your tomato syndrome. Pretty exciting, as we were talking in our little preamble there. Kuroki no slouch in terms of a stand-in. If you can't have No Tail, Kuroki a close second for sure. And that makes me wonder, will Fnatic be a little more eager to perhaps draft a Rubik here into their roster? They do run Rubik sometimes, but that is kind of Kuroki's signature hero. So it does just make me wonder a little bit. We'll see how that affects the draft and playstyle of Fnatic here now that they have a stand-in.
Well, I think if you want to, one of the big things with the stand-in is you have to worry a little bit about coordination and comfort. And I think if you want to make Kuroki feel comfortable, giving him Rubik is not a bad idea. But it's not a hero that Fnatic is really eager to draft a lot of the time, but at the same time, he's just kind of a very solid hero overall. So we may see him come up. And, you know, obviously, like you said, Kuroki very, very good. And the Lich, immediately, that's a ton of great spells you can steal from Lich.
True that for sure. Lich going to be first picked here. Fnatic going to hold true to their roots once again. They're going to first pick the Visage. No big curveball there. And they're going to go ahead and second pick the Lifestealer. So similar aspect to that last match. And one of the great things about Lifestealer, or one of the worst things, as I've seen some people complaining in chat, they're tired of seeing Lifestealer, is he's not a one-trick pony. He can be great in that not position 1, you know, as we saw in last game, that kind of position 2 jungle solo farming the bottom lane, and he can do great in that position 1 role. He can do fine in the jungle, hold his own, he can go late-game aggression, he can go mid-game aggression, and hell, last game we really saw a roaming Lifestealer. He roamed into that mid lane at least twice before that 10-minute mark to shut down the Lich, opening with the open wounds for the easy tiny stun to follow up. So kind of Lifestealer really almost a jack of all trades if you want to think about it that way. The only thing he doesn't do well is support. And wow, Elder Titan going to be picked here. And I say wow because that last match, I don't think Elder Titan was banned, picked whatsoever, totally ignored, which is really crazy for 6.79. I'm a little ashamed we didn't point it out, but alas, he will be in this game. Virtus.pro going to have Elder Titan and Lich with their first 2 picks.
Well, that's one of the things when we were talking on the morning show, you said like, oh, there's too many OP heroes. I don't think there's really too many OP heroes so much as there's just a very high pool of very viable heroes and heroes that are reasonably versatile that you'll see in a lot of games. I actually think that, you know, the fact that we see these games with Elder Titan neither picked nor banned, and then we have, you know, Lich, who actually got ignored until 3rd pick. The fact that there's so much variety in the draft is actually a sign that we're at a really good place right now. I think as we get further into 0.79, we'll have some occasions where the cream sort of rises to the top. Teams really aren't too used to it right now. It's only been out for a couple of weeks. But for now, we have a lot of variety in our Dota right now.
Yeah.
And I am a little concerned. How's Fnatic going to play Visage if they don't have No Tail to micro the birds, man?
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
That's
it's got to be Kuroki, of course, who's a very good Visage. But I just...
No, it is funny.
How do they do it?
It is funny that No Tail actually, like, it sort of sounds like a joke when you say, yeah, you know, someone else plays Visage, they let No Tail micro the birds. It's like, oh yeah, that's pretty funny. I'd like to see that. And it's like, no, they literally do that. No Tail handles the extra micro. That's kind of his thing. So you're right. It's a good point. Interesting that Visage first picked here, but yeah, interesting to see the Naga third ban by Virtus Pro. Actually, Fnatic going to break into their reserve time as they decide what they want to do with their third ban. It is going to go ahead and go on the Weaver, but Naga third ban, a little bit a characteristic of a lot of the matches we've seen post 6.79. Fnatic, one of few teams to still pick that Naga pretty regularly. So just interesting.
I think what you're looking for there is they're just really, really worried. With the Lich and the Elder Titan, they want to be able to get a really good team fight setup between those two. Maybe they want to get something else to go with it. But they know that Fnatic has the next pick. They know that, quite frankly, Virtus Pro could probably draft the Naga and be very, very successful with it. I think she would be a fantastic addition to their lineup. But they're so worried that Fnatic will take that counter-initiation potential. And it's not just all about having the song to cancel out all that stuff, but also if Fnatic grabbed it, then that would also be a deny pick to VP. Yeah. Because they may want it to deal with something like the Lifestealer. Naga, of course, very, very good at isolating off that Lifestealer.
That's very true. I do like that ban. Any kind of reset hero does counter the Wombo combo a little bit, and if that's what they end up going for here as this draft continues to unfold for Virtus Pro, Fnatic may want to consider grabbing a Medusa. She's the other big hero with such an easy reset, sort of on par with that Naga ulti. A different mechanic, of course, but sort of a similar flavor, if you will, and she certainly can be quite the hard carry, as we've seen. I think some folks have gone as far to say that Medusa is the hardest carry. What do you think, Hippie? Do you concur?
She's definitely one of them. I think it's situationally, I think there are 4 carries I would label as the hardest carries in Dota, and whether or not each one is carrying the hardest is completely situational, and that would be Faceless Void, Spectre, Lone Druid, and Medusa.
Yeah.
And there's different reasons for every one of them that I won't go into, but she definitely makes that list.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's the mana shield, man. She really is one hero where you can say every stat is good. There's no such thing as a bad stat on Medusa.
How she can buy a Hex and it helps her carry, and how she can like happily buy a Divine Rapier and never be afraid of dying because she has mana shield.
That shit cray. It gets out of control. But the last few bans are going to come through here. Fnatic going to 4th ban out the Bane, and Virtus Pro going to 4th ban out the Shadow Fiend. So no Nevermore in this match, unfortunately, here. But Fnatic will 3rd pick the Venomancer. A similar flavor right now to what they did in game number 1. Veno and Lifestealer are going to be with them here, and the Visage going to join the lot. We'll see what Virtus Pro want to do with their 3rd pick. They are almost out of bonus time, so they're going to have to make these executive decisions here pretty quickly, and we'll see how this draft continues to unfold. I would think that a Gyrocopter may be in their future if they want to go for that kind of Wombo combo-esque lineup, as they very well may be lining up for. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Venge. So a support that Virtus Pro seemed to be favoring quite a bit. They did indeed pick her in the last match as well.
Well, and she's generally very good if you have a lot of early game physical damage, and the Elder Titan can be very, very powerful in that respect. The Razor in the last game can stack up physical damage pretty early. Having that minus armor to amplify it can be very, very effective. And she is, not just because of the... Not just because her magic missile is so good at low levels, not just because she has the minus armor. We did get that 50 range increase on the swap recently, as you might remember, which, people say, 50 range, not a big deal. It kind of is. Now she can actually swap you from out of stun range of a lot of people. Yes. And she doesn't have to get quite as close. She doesn't need to, chase you down quite as hard. And for a hero who, isn't really that quick, having that 50 extra range can be a really, really big deal. It means, if you have 50 less units to react when she comes out of the fog or out of smoke.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. You're sort of 600 is almost like that magic number for a lot of things, where that tends to be kind of a ceiling. So having 650 does give a small edge, but 2 very powerful picks coming out. I was going to mention earlier in the draft that Bounty Hunter is still available, a hero that for an array of reasons has become a lot more powerful in this patch. Fnatic going to go ahead and 4th pick him there to go Bounty Hunter, Veno, Lifestealer, and Visage for their first 4 picks of the match. Now Virtus Pro going to go ahead and 4th pick the Luna to go with their Vengeful Spirit, Elder Titan, and Lich. So Luna, a hero that synergizes very nicely with this big AoE teamfight synergy they have going on between the Moon Glaive, the huge AoE damage from the Eclipse, and just the beastly presence that is Luna. I really like this pick here, Hippie.
Also, don't forget that in the late game, you have both the Lunar Blessing and the Vengeance Aura coming down, so you're going to have 38 raw damage on everyone and 36% damage bonus. This is going to be a very, very scary team in the late game if Fnatic lets them get there. Yeah. And they don't have room to draft another late gamer, so they need to put a lot of pressure on this Luna. They can't let her stack up. They need to get that track hold. So Fnatic, I think, now has the pressure on them to not just sit back and farm. And quite frankly, that's a hard Virtus Pro team
Yeah.
to engage into. That is a very, very nasty team to try to fight early, especially if they get some levels on the Lich, if they
Yeah.
get the levels on the Elder Titan. And they could pick almost anything as this final pick and still be a very frightening team to deal with in the early game. And
Yeah. I don't know.
that's not a good thing.
Fnatic
Fnatic's
gonna.
gonna have to
Yeah.
really make some good moves, I think.
I agree, and they're going to final ban out the Outworld Devourer, and I think Fnatic could be well advised to go for a Puck last pick here, because Puck going to have that mobility, going to have that phase shift reset, and there it is, Puck going to be the final ban. I think Puck would have worked so well here.
I
It's
think
kind
so
of
too.
a counter initiation, set up those kills, the long silence, because Virtus Pro are going to want to be team fighting so well. That was a great ban from Virtus Pro right there. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one.
Before they pick, I want to get it out. I want Storm Spirit.
All
Right here,
right.
I think Storm Spirit would be amazing.
All right.
I think he gives them the Lifestealer initiation. He gives you good potential to get kills with the Bounty Hunter. And he gives you a little bit of lockdown and chase to help get people into position that the Venomancer and the Visage may not be able to catch people. They're kind of slow heroes. Once they get in range for the slows, they're good. But, you need someone to help them out. I really, really would like to see a Storm Spirit.
That would be a fine pick here. A little bit of crowd control also, but no, gonna go
All
with
right,
Queen of
all
Pain.
right,
I'll settle for a Queen of Pain. A similar flavor. At least they now have somebody with a little bit of initiation power to work with that Lifestealer a bit. And Queen of Pain, a very momentum-based hero. We've seen her flourish in the mid lane, but also struggle a little bit. One of the matches we're going to talk about in the morning show later today, which I should have plugged in between. Morning show going to be coming up with guest Sneak King right after this series is done here on Dota Radio, guys. So don't go anywhere after the series. But Queen of Pain, a little bit susceptible to that early game pressure. If she gets ganked a bit, if roams come her way, and if they manage to pick her off, Queen of Pain can certainly struggle a little bit. But wow, Batrider will indeed be that final pick from Virtus Pro to give them Batrider, Luna, Vengeful Spirit, Elder Titan, and Lich. The missing piece of the puzzle was some initiation power, so Batrider really going to come in handy here. Virtus Pro with a scary lineup, though. Again, not a very tanky lineup. The difference this time, though, Fnatic doesn't have a particularly tanky lineup themselves. Queen of Pain, Bounty Hunter, Venomancer, Lifestealer, and Visage going to be their 5-man roster. So going to be one hell of a game here, Hippie.
I don't like that mid matchup. I think Batrider's in a lot of trouble, actually.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, what basically got nerfed on him was his laning presence is a lot weaker. You can't send him against particularly strong mids. Your sticky napalm is great and all, but you're going to get shadow struck right out of lane. There's going to be nothing you can do about it. The damage is going to come in from the Quap. It's going to be a lot of pressure. They are going to need those rotations you were talking about, I think, to keep the Quap down.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about, you need to get some ganks off early. You need to use that Bounty Hunter track ult. You need to keep that Luna down, or else they're just going to destroy you in the late game. The Quap, I mean, I would have liked the Storm Spirit, but the Quap is almost equally good in my mind. She's just more AoE focused instead of single target focused. And with all of the squishy, as you were mentioning, there's not a lot of hit points on VP. I think that's a very, very important thing to mention. I'm glad you brought it up because I wasn't focusing on it. The amount of damage the Quap and the Visage put out, just the Quap and the Visage, is huge. And you have a lot of chase potential from the other heroes. Yeah. I mean, the Veno, obviously, he starts to stack up some damage, but even if he doesn't have a lot of levels, if you just have levels on the Quap, and then you have the Veno slow to let the Lifestealer or the Bounty Hunter just chase people down, you can destroy a lot of those squishy heroes, and especially Luna, who is largely relying on movement speed to stay safe in the early game.
Right. That's exactly right. And, oh, my overlay didn't update. Oh, look at this. What a bummer. What a little biscuit. Oh, come on, Photoshop. Don't do this to me. We are stuck in a pause, guys. So we're going to have a minute to deliberate here. It looks like Virtus Pro needed a moment. Trying to reload this asset here. I guess I didn't save the file as the right name. That's always a little upsetting.
You ruined it, Sayori. You broke it.
I ruined
broke
everything.
the stream.
Forget it. It doesn't matter. All it said was the morning show is coming up after this. So, yeah, guys, make sure you follow the social media, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.com/TheDotaRadio. The Game 1 VOD is already uploaded. We are on point. It's still processing, I think, but our VODs, man, fastest in the business. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Nobody else uploads them quite as quickly as we do, generally speaking, when I remember to do it in between games. So, if you came into this series late, remember you can go back and check Game 1 as soon as this match is complete, or you can stay tuned for Game 3 if Virtus Pro can bring it out here. But again, this is Game 2 of this best-of-3 series from the Natalic Pro League number 4. Virtus Pro down 0-1, and we'll see if they can tie it up and bring us into an ace match for their first series here back in this tournament. So let's go ahead and take a look at the laning presence. Oh, what? Oh, we got an invade coming from Fnatic. We've got the 5-man Pain Train coming down into the bottom lane here. Right now it is the Bounty Hunter, Lifestealer, and the Veno, as well as that Visage here coming down to the bottom. And they may be able to fancy themselves a kill. Arzark going to be down here on the Venge. Looks like they'll survive for now. So let's go ahead and introduce these teams. We've got the stand-in, Blow Your Brain for Virtus Pro, going to be playing on the Luna down here in the bottom lane. Arzark going to be the one on the Vengeful Spirit, also down here in the bottom. God going to be solo mid as the Bat Rider with that tremendously low auto attack damage. We'll see how he fares against the Queen of Pain. NS going to be the one playing on the Lich, right now rotating from the top down to the bottom. Looks like a nice defensive tri-lane coming out here for Virtus Pro. And then up in the top, that does leave them Light of Heaven on, of course, the Elder Titan. Fnatic going to have their 5-man roster all figured out here. Looks like it will be a solo Bounty Hunter in the top safe lane being played by Trixie. In the mid, no doubt going to be Hani playing on that Queen of Pain. Going to give that Bat Rider a run for his money, no doubt. Era going to be the one on the Lifestealer down here in the bottom. Fly going to be on that Venomancer supporting Mr. Era. And of course their stand-in, Navi's Kuroki, going to be here on the Visage for a nice aggressive tri-lane on Fnatic. Now, Hippie, what are you thinking here? Lifestealer, Visage, Venomancer tri-lane versus Luna, Venge, and what will be a Lich tri-lane once he gets down here. Which try do you like better?
I think as long as Fnatic gets things started quickly and don't let the Lich advantage kind of stack up, they're going to be really, really good. They have the very, very powerful slows to counteract the fact that Lifestealer is basically a hero that you just have to kite everywhere. Long range slows to help him get in range. It's going to be, as long as Kuroki opens up with that Grave Chill to start things off, he's going to be able to basically, we're always going to get the Gale from Fly. We're going to get the open wounds if we need to. We do have the Rage to deal with most of what's coming out of Virtus Pro right here. They do have to worry a little bit about the physical damage from the Lunar Blessing. They do have 3 ranged heroes right here, so that could be very, very powerful. You can see they're actually playing very timid. They don't want to be in auto attack range, so that they're not just taking, 3 hits with that Lunar Blessing bonus.
Right.
But if they can manage to somehow get the lane away from the tower in spite of the Lich, then they're going to be in very good shape, and I think they can engage very, very easily. If they can't pull that off, however, VP is going to take this.
Yeah, I think that's definitely spot on. Again, Lich, one of those heroes, very, very powerful, but what makes him at least semi-balanced is the fact that he is susceptible to that kind of pressure and really has no escape mechanism once he gets slowed. We will see some initiation here come out onto Fly. Venomancer are going to poke too far forward. They're going to do a lot of damage. He will be able to get the Gale off before he goes down, but that will indeed be the first blood going to go the way of the Lich. Now Navi's Kuroki going to be in a little bit of trouble here. He's the stand-in once again. The cooldown rotation going to come up. Virtus Pro going to be out of mana, but they're going to grab themselves 2 kills to start things off in this bottom try versus try. Second kill going to be grabbed by the Luna as Visage gets taken down. So Lifestealer does survive. That is the one little bit of good news here for Fnatic with a very rocky start in the bottom. 2 minutes in, 2 deaths already. Going to give a nice 1,000 gold lead over to Virtus Pro to get this started.
Yeah, it's, at this point, I think that tri-lane, if they drop something like that one more time, they're better off abandoning it, because they're not going to end up slowing down the Luna after something like that, especially with the Lich advantage that's just going to capitalize on things like this, because Fnatic are the ones that need to make things happen in this. Absolutely. Not only are they aggressive, but the fact that the Lich is slowly stacking up that advantage, I can't emphasize that enough. The more passive this lane is, the more it favors VP. Yeah. So Fnatic also start to get under-leveled. Now you have the level 1 Veno, the level 1 Visage, as opposed to level 2 supports, and a level 3 support on the Lich, the level 3 Luna. As soon as these skills start to just really stack up in levels for VP, and Fnatic can just kind of get bursted down very, very quickly, they can't do anything in this lane anymore, because they have to be engaging to get anything out of it.
Yeah, and we see that difference in farm slowly starting to grow here. Right now, Era only 4-1, and the stand-in Blow Your Brain on the Luna right now 8-4. So Luna not getting great last hit farm, but still having a lot of lane presence here as we see Fnatic, as you mentioned, not even able to attack. And this is really bad news bears for Era. I think you're right. It's almost time to just abandon, throw Era in the jungle, let him get at least a little bit of farm, because right now he's getting absolutely nothing. If Flying Kuroki can rotate around, maybe set up a gank on God in the mid lane, maybe rotate up top and make Light of Heaven's life a little bit more difficult, they could at least start to bring things back, but this bottom lane is definitely bad news bears. Let's take a look at the mid here. We talked about how Hani should have a pretty good advantage over the Bat Rider, compliments of that recent patch nerfing Bat Rider's laning presence, but God seems to be holding his own just fine. Right now we see Hani sitting 19-6, actually leading the way in last hits, but God nipping at his heels here, 17-1. In terms of Bat Rider last hits, as he is going to this kind of medium camp here. Getting lucky with the spawns, doesn't have any mud golems right now, so getting a little bit of extra farm in between going to the lane. So God really doing a good job here and giving Hani a run for his money.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be a little bit difficult to lane against the Batrider if he starts stacking up the Napalm, but at the same time, I do think that Hani, he's going to have complete rune control because of the fact that he has the Blink. You can see he's already picking up that Illusion rune. God not even considering it worth it to go grab it, not only because Hani is going to get to it so much more quickly, but because of the fact that with that Scream of Pain, Hani is much more able to push up the lane, able to keep it positioned up at the tower, make sure he soaks up every bit of experience before he breaks away to grab a rune. So he's not losing anything going out there, but God really, really would be.
Right, right. And sorry, I'm fiddling with the stream at the moment here. And you're absolutely right. It looks like in the top lane there could be some more pressure. We did just see Fly rotate up with Kuroki and an unsuccessful gank. So they're going to be 2-0 here at the 5-minute mark. And let me see if that worked. Sorry, my multitasking is
that's fine.
Is subpar here. Okay, so I did just restart the stream. Yeah, we'll talk about it later, regardless. So okay, yeah, 5 minutes in, we're back. So this bottom lane has been abandoned, though, for the most part, but not in the fashion I would have thought. Era is still holding steady down here in the bottom lane, which is weird because he still has 4 last hits. He's 4-1 right now. Creeps are going to shove into the tower, so Era going to be able to at least try and grab a couple of last hits, but just look at this aggression from Virtus Pro. Right away, they're going to drop that cooldown rotation. Era going to be forced to use a Solve, and that's going to be his last bit of healing, except for this Magic Stick. Going to take another Lucid Beam to the face. Not even able to grab last hits when these creeps are under his tower. After that huge wave, he only gets one more last hit, so that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's
so I don't know. What do
bottom
they do
lane
here?
is just.
I mean, do they just
I
second?
think they
Is there an
rotate Era
advantage to
somewhere.
leaving Era in this lane?
Maybe they just have him soak up some experience. They have him get the Infest, and they try to play very, very aggressive once they have levels on him and the Bounty Hunter as well. Once they get the track up from Trixie, which they actually literally just got up as I'm saying this, it can become much, much more effective. Trixie can start rotating now that he has that level 6. Maybe he wants to get maybe one more item, wants to get his phase boots or something. But if they start stacking up track gold, they can quickly make up for this creep deficit and, I mean, get Era his farm. He's got his levels. Maybe that's what they want to do. Maybe they want to just do it with kills, and if they can get them on the Luna, it's all that much more effective.
Yeah, and you know, you're right about that. That's a good thing. One thing we haven't mentioned, that although Fnatic are struggling a little bit here, they're not feeding. They lost that one lane, but with the Bounty Hunter, they can certainly bring this back, and they're going to start off right away. Trixie hits level 6. They get their first track kill of the match on Light of Heaven in the top lane. Now NS going to pour it in. Uh-oh, I don't know what NS was thinking right there. It's going to be another track kill coming out for Fnatic, so... there was a nice lead for VP right there, about 1,500 gold or so, but some of it going to get squandered as 2 kills go the way of Fnatic here at the 7-minute mark. Going to be all tied up 2-2. Wow, I don't know. I mean, not much Elder Titan could have done, but that Lich teleport, maybe just a little bit hasty there, as he didn't do much besides get his world rocked by the wrath of Fnatic.
Yeah, I think just teleporting solo into 4 heroes, it's a good idea, right, guys? Right? Yeah. But no, I mean, it was probably kind of, he got the call, hey, I'm getting gone on up top. He immediately does the TP reaction, and then he lets it through before he really has a chance to assess the situation. He knows that the Luna doesn't need him bottom. He knows he's not causing any problems down there by TPing. So he ends up feeding a little bit. He does end up feeding a second track kill, so that was 2 in that top lane. I think you mentioned that. So that is kind of a little bit of a big deal, but it certainly could be worse. He could have left the Luna in a lot of trouble, and in the end, unfortunate, but not game-breaking.
Right. That's a good point there. So... let's take a look at the gold graph and see how things have leveled out. All right, Fnatic going to get about 1,000 gold swing. Is still trailing by about 500-600 gold or so, but really pretty meaningless here in the early game as we do approach that 8-minute mark. But uh-oh, God's got himself a Blink Dagger here at the 8-minute mark, and they are going to use that to set up a kill onto Hani. So I guess our theories about the laning presence of Batrider may be a little bit squandered here, as God really showing us what it's all about, and a very, very timely Blink. He did go boots into bottle, 3 GG branches to start things off, and really doesn't get too much faster than that for the in terms of a blink on a Batrider. So that is great news, and they're going to get themselves a free kill on who better than Hani, who's been farming very well himself. So this is still good for Virtus Pro. They're still keeping themselves alive, and the big standout factor here as well is that Blow Your Brain is just getting absolute free farm down here in the bottom lane now. He is level 6. Looks like going to be going for an early Helm of Dominator. Does have Helm of Iron Will to start things off to go with his Power Treads and Ring of Basilius. So further good news here for Virtus Pro in Game 2 of this best of 3 series.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see the Dom Helm build for Luna making a serious comeback. For a while, we saw Tranquils into whatever you want, like something like Drum, something like BKB, because Tranquils give you all the lane sustain you needed. Now that you don't have that anymore, I think Tread's Dom Helm is going to become completely standard again,
Right.
because you want that Helm of Iron Will in lane to give you that HP regen that previously you were getting off of the Tranquils.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't emphasize enough that I really thought Hani would win that middle lane pretty handily. He traded about even,
Yeah.
I think. So in the end, it's not like he didn't get farm, but I thought the Shadow Strike zone out would be a little more effective. He did only go 1 point into it. He wanted to get the extra burst damage up in the Scream of Pain faster. I can't fault him for that. They have a Bounty Hunter. I actually do think it was the right decision. But it does mean that God didn't have quite as much lane pressure as he could have. And it looks like Trixie's going to go for him, but that was a bad decision.
Yeah, Trixie now going to get lassoed. He's going to get chain frosted as well. There's going to be a sentry ward used, so a lot of resources burned to finish off Trixie, but a worthy investment, I think. Not really sure what his game plan was. Maybe he didn't notice Lich was quite nearby. I really don't know. I was going to comment before that on how well Trixie was doing, just staying invisible near the Bat Rider, soaking up that neutral experience. Again, recent changes of 6.79. You just have to be near the neutral kills to share experience. It doesn't matter who gets the last hit, which was a big change in mechanics, and one of the reasons why Bounty Hunter has been so prevalent in this patch. So Trixie just soaking up free experience right there and mitigating experience gain from Bat Rider. Really an unnecessary death, unfortunate for him. Here at the 10-minute mark, Virtus Pro going to be leading by 2 kills, 4-2, as things do continue on. It looks like the first tower kill of the match may go the way of Fnatic, though. They are pressuring that top tier 1 tower. It is down to about 400 HP, but all the while, Virtus Pro going to be pressuring that bottom tier 1. A lot of ports going to come in. They're going to defend. Looks like they want to finish off the Luna. She's going to fall. That's going to be the 3rd track kill of the match for Fnatic. They are 3 for 3 on those track kills. Quap going to burn the ulti that will finish off Luna, and I think a worthy endeavor because it's Luna. As you mentioned, who better to get these kills on? Absolutely right. So Arzart now going to be in big trouble. The Vengeful Spirit headed for the hills, getting close to the tier 2. Is tracked right now, so Fnatic know exactly where he is and where he's going. But looks like they're not going to have the chasing power to slow down the Venge. Venge will survive. It will be a 1-for-0 exchange. Fnatic now going to have, well, they did have all 5 bottom. It looks like Bounty Hunter going to roam towards mid. So I imagine Fnatic going to want to try and push down this tower given the amount of resources they put into securing that kill on the Luna.
Yeah, and they could have gotten a lot that's done a whole lot quicker and maybe left less of a time of a reaction if they hadn't kind of uselessly chased that Venge. I don't understand what they were thinking, diving quite that hard. They knew they weren't going to catch her. The only person even close to her was Trixie, and he doesn't have a ranged slow, so it was just weird to me that they spent that much time chasing her.
Samesies. I was not thinking they would commit as much time to that as they did, and now I don't know that it's going to cost them this tower push, but it may force them to trade 1-for-1 instead of getting a free tower. The bottom tier 1 now going to be down to about 300 hit points, similar to the top tier 1. Era is going to cut the lane and intercept the creep wave as some pressure does come its way, but it looks like Virtus Pro want to pressure that mid lane. We see God on the high ground here. Blow Your Brain did port mid after he responded. There's going to be a 4-man push coming from Virtus Pro in the mid lane. So again, it very well could be a tier 1 for tier 1 exchange. All the while in the top, Trixie continuing to farm away against the Elder Titan, and Light of Heaven has been pretty quiet this game. He did get ganked once, but has been farming pretty well, is level 8, and does have those arcane boots, so that's good news for him. Now Fnatic going to be forced to burn their glyph. They never did secure the tier 1 tower kill in the bottom lane. They burned the glyph to secure the life of their tier 1 tower in the mid lane here. My cadence got all weird in that little exchange. I'm not sure what happened to my voice, but all 5 members of Virtus Pro going to be grouped up here about the mid, and they want to try to make it happen. Illusion Rune going to be used on the Elder Titan as well, so this tower going to be taking a lot of pressure. God hiding behind the trees, ready to blink and grab somebody with the lasso, not going to be able to do it. Visage going to be able to get a deny. Nicely played by Kuroki, but it may cost him his life. Indeed it does. He gets blinked upon and lassoed. Gale going to come out from the Veno, but Fly going to head for the hills. All the while that was happening, Era did grab a tower kill in the bottom lane, so that was actually a great trade for Fnatic. I think probably worth it for Kuroki to suicide there, getting a tower deny and then opening up that opportunity for Era to get a tower last hit himself. A huge exchange in favor of Fnatic.
I actually don't agree that suicide was worth it. I think Era had the tower anyway. He got the tower before that deny even went off, and then I mean I've heard it discussed. I almost never think suiciding a hero is worth it. You give them extra experience. You're losing a little bit of gold, especially on a support who's not stacking up all that much gold in the first place. You're losing, some progress towards your support items. Kuroki's probably going to be the one going for a mech, so you're slowing down your mech to try to do that in exchange for what? Knocking 100 gold off every hero?
Yeah.
And then giving away the 200 that ended up... I mean, sure, it only ended up going to Lich, but you're giving them a little bit of extra experience. You're slowing down your own levels. You're not even level 6 on that Visage yet. You're only just barely going to get those birds up, and you're slowing down your important support gear.
Yeah.
I would rather let them have the last hit, then suicide for it.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So down in the bottom lane, though, again, they're going to blow everything to finish off that Luna straight away. Quap ulti going to be that final bit of damage. And actually, no, Lifestealer going to get that final bit of damage. Hani going to try and port out. He's in big trouble. He did get Force Staff to interrupt that port, pardon me. He is going to be able to blink backwards. Oh, Hani might be able to survive this. He's going to have blink coming up in just about a second. Oh, wow. God almost doing him a favor. Wow, he's going to blink the same time God blinks. And, yeah, not going to be enough. A close call, but unfortunately, Bat Rider with just a bit too much mobility right now as he does have that blink dagger and Arzard. Maybe that was a Flame Break that interrupted him. I thought it was a Force Staff, but maybe it was a Flame Break. Still, Hani is going to fall right there, so it is going to be kind of a nice 1-for-1. And Lich, oh god, I totally missed that kill, pardon me. Lich going to be able to finish off the Visage in the top lane with the help of Elder Titan. So action happening all over the map. All the while, back down in the bottom lane, Arzar going to get engaged on now. Trixie and Era going to make it happen with the help of the two Visage familiars there. Going to set for an easy kill. Bounty Hunter going to rack up yet another track kill. 5 kills on the board for Fnatic, 7 for Virtus Pro. But Fnatic has gotten at least 4 track kills, if not all 5. So they've been doing a great job managing that track gold and really helping out their economy. Still trailing by about 750 gold, but you know, Fnatic well on their way to staying this match. Really compliments of that Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, I think the biggest metric for how much those track kills are helping them is if you look at the net worth difference specifically between Luna and Lifestealer. Lifestealer now only about 600 gold behind Luna, which compared to the fact that Luna was doubling him up, when Luna was at 4,000, Lifestealer was at 2,000.
Yeah,
and the fact that he's recovered so nicely off of not only the tower he picked up, but also off of picking up that all that track gold means that he's farming his way back into this game. They can still make a lot of mid-game work happen because their carry isn't under-farmed. And Lifestealer is someone you need a decent amount of farm on in the mid-game. He doesn't transition into like an ultra-late-game carry as much as other people does. He really needs to get those kills. You need to play aggressive, and he needs to snowball a little bit if you want him to be effective past the 30-45 mark.
Whoa, there it is. Hani going to be able to grab himself a courier kill as Fnatic put themselves in an odd position trying to do the wraparound behind that tier 1 tower. What are they going to have to pay to get that courier kill? It is going to be their Kuroki. Unfortunately, Visage is going to get taken out in the mix. They had to reveal their smoked position to finish off the courier. So how about that one, Chris?
Birds too.
Yeah,
they
two
lost,
birds.
If it wasn't for the birds, I would have said that's fine.
Yeah,
but the fact that they lost 2 birds means no, I'm not cool with it.
They're
anymore.
100 gold bounty apiece, right? So that's a big big swing.
So a lot of gold, and now we're probably going to lose Arid here as well. 5-on-1.
Yeah, 5-on-1. He is going to get lasso. Going to be able to use the rage. Will hop inside a creep. Going to hop out right away for that bit of extra health, but yeah, not going to be able to survive that damage. Just too much burst between the Frost Nova, the Lucent Beams, and all the other damage they can put out. Era is going to fall. So going to be a 2 for Courier, basically, when it's all said and done with that exchange. Definitely not worth it in the end. Following that as well, Virtus Pro going to be able to finish off that tier 1 tower in the top lane. So this kind of 5-man Dota strat here working very well for them. 16.5-minute mark. They've got a great 5-man mid-game team. We talked about those stacking auras. Right now, Luna's got level 2 Lunar Blessing, and we see a level 2 Vengeance aura, but it's helping with that right-click auto-attack DPS as they continue to knock down towers here. Virtus Pro going to take out the tier 2 tower in the top lane as well. That's going to take their gold lead now upwards of probably about 6,000. It's a little bit higher than 5,000 right now. Trixie looking like he may try and score a deny. He is going to get the deny, but at what cost right here? He's going to get, yeah, dusted and killed again. The suicides to get the tower denies. Oh no, Lich going to get taken out here. He is going to be able to get the ult off, but not going to take too many bounces. Looks like Luna is going to blow the ulti. Only going to get 1 beam off onto Fly, so not the best ult we've seen, but this is not going to be a good fight for Fnatic. Looks like a 1-for-1 trade right now. Elder Titan going to be able to finish off the Venomancer. Visage now going to be able to finish off the Vengeful Spirit. Era trying to chase down Light of Heaven. The birds on top of him. They might be able to make this happen. I don't know. He is going to burn that Astral, what is it? Astral Sleep? Echo Stomp. That's what it's called. Jeez. And Era's still in hot pursuit. He's got an open wounds up. I think Light of Heaven is destined to fall right here. Visage
maybe not with the move speed. Oh,
going to have their stuns. Oh, Kuroki going to come in. Kuroki needs to be a little bit of trouble here. Going to be able to survive, but cutting it close. So when it's all said and done there, Fnatic do manage to come out on top. I think it was a 2-for-4 exchange. No buybacks used, but at the beginning, looking a little bit rocky, going back and forth right there. That fight would have been much different had Luna gotten off a better ultimate, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, watching the kind of moonbeam that kind of shines down on top of her while that ultimate is running, and then seeing and hearing precisely 0 beams landing for most of it, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, that's a big one. They got caught out of position. They kind of got sandwiched a little bit. Obviously, Trixie dying means that there wasn't any track gold going around for Fnatic in that fight. That's very, very unfortunate. They're really kind of relying on that at this point. But the fact that Era was able to get some... Oh, Era. Era, he's just going to feed away the advantage.
Speaking of Era, yeah, that was just a classic. Got initiated on by Bat Rider. They did a good bit of damage. And Era got a little bit unlucky right there. He hopped into a creep, and as the creep wave pushed up, the one that he was in was the first one the other creep started attacking, so he was forced to hop out of the infest a bit earlier than he wanted to, I think. But his creep was going to die, so he had to get some health back. Kind of unfortunate. Just bad luck, I suppose, that was the creep. His friendly creep started attacking. But alas, yeah, that little bit of advantage going to start to peter away again, glancing at the gold graph. Fnatic consistently behind in this match, but not allowing it to get out of control. Now that lead for Virtus.pro is sitting right around 2,500 gold or so at the 19-minute mark. Not a bad lead, but still not game-changing. Fnatic obviously still very well in this. Some interesting item choices being made by Fnatic as well. We see 2 Drums of Endurance, one on the Lifestealer and one on the Bounty Hunter. Not maybe a little bit wasteful there, a little overlap in the auras, but still 2 very powerful items we always go back to. How that's one of the best bang for the bucks in terms of the raw amount of stats and tankiness you get. So one item that I can understand why you may have multiples across your carries. Visage going to be able to grab that point booster, undoubtedly going to be working towards an Og Scepter. God is really the one with the scary items here, though. Virtus.pro's Bat Rider right now has Blink, Boots of Travel, and a Force Staff. Those are really the 3 core items that make a Bat Rider scary, so God's presence in this match has just been out of control. Luna working towards that BKB, does have the Helm of the Dominator, the Mithril Hammer, as well as the Ogre Club, still waiting on that BKB recipe. And Lich getting pretty close to that mech. It looks like if Kuroki going to be grabbing a mech, he's still a ways off, as he did go point booster first. So that's going to be another team fight difference in favor of Virtus.pro. Mech versus no mech. It always goes back to, in my mind, mech better than no mech.
Absolutely. I mean, if you have a 250 hit point swing as well as a bunch of bonus armor, it's certainly better than being the team that doesn't, you know? It looks like we might see a tower trade attempt coming out here from Fnatic, but I'm not sure they can bring this down fast enough. That bottom tower is already low, and the Luna aura, of course, lets you push very, very quickly, and Arzart already positioning to go in on this fight mid.
Yep, that tier 1 tower in the bottom lane does indeed fall. Fnatic still working to chop away at that wood in the mid. And the tier 1 tower going to get down to about 300 hit points or so, but Fnatic going to slowly back up. They're not going to overcommit, recognizing that Virtus.pro are going to come back and pose a defense here. They do not want to get caught with a bad engage, recognizing that most of the ultimates are up, in particular the Eclipse as well as, well, the Chain Frost as well. Level 11 Witch. I said Witch. Level 11, I was watching the Blair Witch Project yesterday. It was rubbing off on me. The Lich is now level 11 too, so that does make him a bit more scary. A lot of level 11s in this match right now. I think there's 5 or 6 heroes that are level 11 right now, so those level 2 ultimates do pose a very interesting timing here for Virtus.pro, giving them maybe a slight team fight edge, part of the reason why Fnatic are being so cautious. But there it is, God gonna hop forward. He's going to catch Trixie to start things off. No track kill is going to be coming in this fight. Unless they get it on Luna, you're going to have to take it away.
All right, yeah, well, Fly does get swapped in by Arzart. Does manage to get away right there. The Scream comes out to try and lower the armor, but not quite anything going on. Trixie does buy back. God is going to go down right here. Maybe a little bit of an overcommit. Virtus.pro does pick off the mid tower, so it ends up being 1-for-1 plus a buyback, and they do seem to get out safely. That could have been very, very dangerous for them if they hadn't all backed off right there, but in the end, all they lose is the Bat Rider in exchange for a tower and a bounty hunter, who then also bought back. So that's a big, big win for VP. Yep. Definitely slowing down. Trixie probably working towards that BKB, and they're going to be slowing that down a little bit, not letting him get that magic immunity, not letting him become more and more of a nuisance in these team fights. But they do see NS. They might want to engage on him, but all of VP is right here. Looks like Era's going to get stunned out long range by Arzart. They're still going to try to be chasing down NS. No, they're just going to disengage right here. Yeah. Is that all right, my man? You feeling a little better now?
Yeah, I did that thing where I got too excited, I oversalvated and then inhaled it and started choking on my own juices. So yeah, sorry about that. The one highlight of that fight for Fnatic was that they were able to kill the Bat Rider. That ended a dominating streak, which is a nice, almost 600 gold bounty coming out for Era. So that is good news for Fnatic, but still not the best of engages, and unfortunately not able to get that kind of cleanup kill as it may be. 3,000 gold lead still holding, or experience lead holding steady for Virtus.pro, and the gold lead is comparable, just about 3,000. 13-10 here at the 23-minute mark. Any other big items have been completed here? BKB now out on the Queen of Pain, and another Force Staff been picked up. Now one on the level 11 Elder Titan, but it looks like we're going to see an engage here outside the Roche pit. Fly going to get caught on the Venomancer. That's going to be a lasso coming out from the Bat Rider. Going to pull him to the high ground. Nothing the Veno can do. Fly not even going to burn the ultimate. Oh, it's still on cooldown, so no wonder he didn't use it. Wouldn't have been a good choice anyhow, so going to be another free kill for Virtus.pro. You know, one thing I love about this game, amongst the amount of action we've been able to see here, 24 kills in about 23 minutes, is that Bat Rider is being successful. This is a testament to his power still in this patch. And to all those naysayers that said, Bat Rider's garbage to your hero, no one's going to pick him, I think you are wrong, sir. I concur that you are mistaken. Bat Rider is still damn powerful as being displayed by God.
You know, you could take away a lot of what he has, and he still has, at max level, a 4-second anti-BKB disable that isolates a hero from their team. Nobody else has that.
Yeah.
Nobody. And so especially when there's heroes like Lifestealer in the meta, and anyone who wants to rush a BKB as the enemy carry, he's always going to be a valuable pick. And I think, his laning is weaker. It's harder to get him his farm. But there's still going to be times where he's perfectly viable. Looks like we had a little bit of pressure on to blow your brain coming out from Trixie, but now he just wants to get the track off. Maybe put a little bit of fear into them, because you have to know when you're tracked. You got to play a little bit more carefully. You can't just be off on your own. If they see the rest of your team, they see you because you're tracked, and they just manage to rotate in, get that pick off, especially on the Luna, it can be a big deal. And I really have to say that in spite of the fact that I really do feel like Fnatic are on the back foot, Era is doing a pretty decent job at keeping up in farm. He's only 1,200 gold behind this Luna, who, by all rights, by the lane she had, by the amount of pressure VP is putting on, by the amount of map control they have, she should be way ahead of him. By the fact that Luna just farms a whole lot faster than a Lifestealer. And we're going to start to see that accelerate as she's getting more and more points in the Moonglaves. She's getting more and more damage come out. Maybe they do an Ancient stack soon to just kind of catapult her a little bit forward. But hey, Era just picked up his Basher. Yeah. Maybe now they want to take a fight. Maybe now they want to try and mess something up.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a nice triple stack here on the Radiant side of the map in terms of Asians. One thing Fnatic has not been doing, if they have, I've been missing it, but they do have a single stack right now.
They don't really have a great person to clear stacks with, is the problem.
Yeah,
that's very slow.
That's a good point as well. So, regarding, I guess stacking it, really, you run the chance of Virtus.pro running over and just grabbing your stack. But we are going to see some tower exchanging. Virtus.pro with a 5-man team down in the bottom lane will take out the tier 2 tower in that lane. Fnatic looking like they want to exchange towers, but they just don't have the pushing speed. Every time they try and line up for a tower for tower exchange, Virtus.pro are just coming out a bit ahead. Pardon me, Fnatic
against Lunar Blessing and Vengeance Aura, man. It's very hard to outpush that.
No way. Yeah, there's just no way you can do it. So Fnatic will port back, but that's exactly what Virtus.pro were hoping for. I think as soon as the ports came, they backed up. And now Virtus.pro going to move into the Roche pit. So we'll see how this fares for them. And if they're going to be able to do it. Sorry, I'm scatterbrained here. Roche falling reasonably quickly, though. Again, compliments to those auras. I don't think there's a Medallion of Courage, but Visage going to get caught by God. He's going to grab him with the lasso, pull him into the Roche pit. No way he's going to be able to survive that. Another free kill going to come out for Virtus.pro. A killing spree bounty at that for God on the bounty hunter. Or, Jesus, why did I say bounty hunter? On the Bat Rider. And, Roche going very low right here. I don't think Fnatic's going to be able to contest this. They may hop in for some sort of an Aegis steal. Looks like Hani maybe trying to line it up. Roshan down to about 1,000 hit points. Virtus.pro trying to bait it. Looks like they may be successful. They're going to fancy themselves a kill on Trixie. He's going to be able to get a track off, but oh no, this is so bad for Fnatic. Now Fly going to get caught. He's going to fall to the Wrath of the Luna. Roshan is still alive, but Fnatic have already lost 3. It's a 2v5 on the field. Lifestealer still inside of the Queen of Pain, and I don't know, Hani's still looking like he may want to hop in for an Aegis steal, but I think that may be a mistake. Yeah, not going to go for it. Roshan going to fall. Luna going to be the one to grab the Aegis. And now Virtus.pro, all of a sudden, I mean, this graph has been kind of going up and down, making this cute little kind of a W type shape. But all of a sudden, Fnatic really conceding their seat in this game. They're still in it by all means, but very, very sloppy dance around the Roche pit there.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to assume that when somebody is rushing in a pro game, they have vision, which means you have to, and also they have Bat Riders, which means they can get flying vision anytime they want to by just popping the Firefly. And then, of course, you have the Bat Rider who can just drag you into the pit. You can't be isolated like that. If you're going to be around the Roche pit when there's a Bat Rider and you know you don't have like a huge initiation advantage, your team has to be ready to go because you know that the Bat Rider is going to try to pick someone off, and it's exactly what he did. As soon as Kuroki was down, I couldn't believe Trixie kept hanging around there, especially not like he threw off the track and then immediately got swapped into an entire team.
Yeah,
I was like, come on, man. Like I know what you're trying to do, but you had to know that was going to happen. You knew the swap was off cooldown. It's not like it's a long ability.
Yeah, so Bat Rider continuing to get fat here. He's now got a Yule's Scepter to go with his Force-Staff, Blink Dagger, and Boots of Travel. Also going to grab himself a Mask of Madness. So at first glance, kind of an odd item on the Bat Rider, but being able to pop it for the movement speed makes that lasso that much more effective. An additional few units, he can pull people out of position when they're stuck in tow, so that is definitely good news for them. Now Arzard on the Vengeful Spirit going to be able to grab a Ghost Scepter as his first big item for a bit of additional survivability there. Lich now going to have the Mech complete and going to grab himself a point boost. So we're going to see Kuroki in trouble again right now. Mask of Madness being displayed for us very clearly by God. Going to be able to grab on the Visage, Mask of Madness away, and drag him into the rest of the team. Going to be yet another free kill coming out from Virtus Pro, and that's going to give them a 5v4 in the field as they group up and press forward here into this tier 3 tower in the mid lane. It's taken a lot of pressure. The tower dropping very quickly here. Fnatic do have a glyph available, and they may opt to use it. There is a Manta now in the inventory of Luna to go with her Helen the Dominator and Black King Bar. Also, again, she does still have the Aegis. Arzar going to use a swap. That'll be the end of Trixie on the Bounty Hunter. He's going to get swapped and get obliterated in a matter of seconds. That's now going to be a 5v3 on the field. Fly still alive, but needs to be a little bit careful here. The harassment coming out from that Astral Spirit may be a bit more than he was ready to deal with. He does have an ultimate available, but I worry that Fly may just get taken out before he can get it off. That's exactly what's going to happen. Arzar going to be able to solo him here. We're going to see the rest of the engage happen outside of the base. Kuroki going to lose most of his familiars here. Era now going to be forced to run. Earthsplitter going to come out, not going to connect. The Chain Frost going to get blown as well, not going to take any bounces, but still going to be enough to take out Visage. It doesn't even need bounces because Fnatic are continually taking these 1v5, 2v5 engages. They just can't take a straight 5v5 engage, and it is so bad for him right now. Era going to go back in, trying to save the racks with the last-ditch effort. Not going to happen. He's going to fall. Queen of Pain now going to blink in. Again, same story, different chapter. 1v5, 1v5, 1v5. They are working this Vengeful Spirit Magic Missile cooldown so well. Exactly what Virtus Pro is looking for here. They did manage to pick off the Bat Rider, but 23-11, Fnatic going to lose their mid lane of racks. Now their bottom lane going to take a lot of pressure. Their tier 3 certainly going to fall. This could be a signal here, Kippy, that we're going to be going into a game 3.
I don't think there's any real chance for Fnatic to run this back at this point. Lifestealer doesn't stand up to a Luna late game in my mind, especially not when Luna is backed up by the minus armor and the +% damage from Vengeful Spirit. And there's the GGs coming out from Fnatic. Well played by VP, showing us that they can in fact run it back. They may have been kind of, people have been saying, oh, VP, they're not doing very solid, and they've had some struggles as they're trying to find their 5th player. But blow your brain, man. The past few days I've been watching him play, he seems to click. I think he might end up sticking around, and hey, he played great in this game. He did exactly what they needed to on that Luna.
Yep, exactly right. So it is going to make game 3 here. Virtus Pro with a great draft. A lot of team fight pressure. We'll see who takes this series here. Virtus Pro versus Fnatic, best of 3, going to get wrapped up in game 3 coming up next.